Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Archana Solanki. Here are the headlines we're tracking this evening. Bulls maintain the momentum on Dalal Street. Sensex and Nifty gain for the fourth straight day. Rupee weakens marginally as it remains close to record lows against the dollar. There is simply no stopping the gold rally. Prices hit yet another record high as safe haven demand remains strong. Prices of silver and platinum ease marginally. World Bank raises India's GDP forecast for this financial year by 20 basis points to 6.5%, but revises the growth estimate for the next financial year lower by 20 basis points to 6.3%, citing the 50% US tariff. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says India is regularly in touch with US officials at multiple levels on trade negotiations, adds a sixth round of talks is possible, but stops short of giving a timeline, citing the US government shutdown. The chairman of Tata Sons and some trustees will meet government officials this evening. Sources say government cannot be a silent spectator to what they call a coup attempt by four trustees. Darius Khambata, Pramit Jhaveri, Mehli Mistry and Jahangir accuse the four trustees of wanting to function as a super board. That's an exclusive. The global CEO of PayPal is bullish on India. Alex Chris says India is a global leader and innovator in fintech, adds PayPal will play the role of connecting India to the rest of the world. That's an exclusive too.
Over a 3-year period, I do believe that IndusInd Bank will be able to regain its preeminent status.
IndusInd Bank CEO Rajiv Anand says it will take 3 years to regain lost ground after the disclosure of accounting lapses, adds rebuilding trust as top of his agenda, rules out any capital requirement this year. That's an exclusive. LG India's initial public offer sees strong demand on the first day. Tata Capital's IPO booked more than 70% on the second day. WeWork India's public issue fully subscribed on the last day, even as retail investor demand is muted. The death toll among children in Madhya Pradesh after consuming potentially toxic cough syrup rises to 15. State authorities confirmed the presence of toxins in 2 other cough syrup brands and issue a ban. Chief Minister promises strict action. Israelis gather to mark 2 years since the Hamas attack that killed 1,200 people. Israeli forces continue to bomb Gaza, killing over 100 people. Since US President Trump called for a halt to the war 3 days ago, more than 67,000 people have been killed in Gaza in the last 2 years. Salaries across India Inc. projected to rise by 9% in 2026, according to a salary survey by Aon. Real estate and non-banking finance company lead with double-digit increments. Attrition drops to just over 17%, the lowest in 3 years. All right, as always, let's start with the day's market action. Dalal Street gained for the fourth straight day, but off day's high. Nifty ended above the 25,100 mark with continued support from Reliance. Banking heavyweights witnessed some profit booking. On to the commodities market. Gold extended its record-breaking rally. This as investors continue to bet on the safe haven metal in the light of the continuing US government shutdown. Hopes that the US Federal Reserve will cut rates this month also supported prices. Safe haven demand also helped silver prices globally, while festive demand supported prices of the metal back home. The World Bank has upgraded India's growth forecast for FY26 to 6.5% from earlier projection of 6.3%. However, the bank has downgraded India's FY27 growth forecast to 6.3% on USA's 50% tariff pressure on India's exports. Similarly, growth in South Asia is likely to slow down in 2026 on the back of weaker exports and forex pressures. The Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says Indian government is regularly in touch with the Trump administration on trade negotiations. Speaking at an event in Qatar, Goyal added that there is a possibility of a 6th round of talks with the US. However, he stopped short of giving a timeline for the next round of negotiations and cited the US government shutdown as the reason.
हमारी बातचीत लगातार चल रही है यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका के साथ। अलग अलग लेवल पे संपर्क बना हुआ है। इसके बारे में जल्द ही आपको हम और सूचना देंगे कि आगे कैसे इसको बढ़ाने की योजना या कल्पना बन रही है. एवरी पॉसिबिलिटी एग्जिस्ट्स, पर आप सब जानते हैं कि यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका में आजकल गवर्नमेंट शटडाउन मोड में है, तो उसके मद्देनज़र देखना पड़ेगा कि कैसे बातचीत हो सकती है.
All right, on to a CNBC TV18 exclusive. The chairman of Tata Sons and some trustees will meet government officials this evening. Sources in the Tata Group tell CNBC TV18 that the government cannot be a silent spectator to what they call a coup attempt by 4 trustees. Darius Khambata, Pramit Javeri, Mehli Mistry and Jahangir have also been accused of wanting to function as a super board. Parikshit Luthra is here with the details.
Sources close to the Tata Group tell CNBC TV18 that government can no longer be a silent spectator to the rift within Tata Trusts and Tata Sons. They also tell us that the government is fully seized of the matter and this must be resolved at the earliest. Key members of Tata Trusts are set to meet the union cabinet ministers this evening to try and resolve the matter at the earliest. We hear from sources that 4 trustees led by Darius Khambata, Jahangir, Pramit Javeri and Mehli Mistry have tried to emasculate the leadership of Noel Tata and they want to function as a super board as well. They not only want to approve the appointment of independent directors which have been nominated by the NRC at Tata Sons, but at the same time, they also want to approve the agenda and minutes of the board meetings. This, according to sources we spoke to, is completely against corporate governance lapses and it derails governance structures of the Tata Group as well. So there are 3 or 4 asks, according to key trustees of the Tata Group, and this is being conveyed to the government as well. 1, that separation of roles and powers between Tata Trusts and Tata Sons must be maintained at all costs. Tata Trust must work harmoniously with Tata Sons and the trustees cannot undermine the leadership of Noel Tata. They cannot work towards driving a wedge between Noel Tata and N. Chandrasekaran as well. There is a board meeting of Tata Trust which is set to take place on October 10. Let's see what happens there. But currently, what sources in the Tata Group tell us that there is a clear and present crisis which not only threatens the Tata Group's functioning and profits in the months to come, but also impacts the Indian economy. Therefore, they are hopeful of some sort of resolution and clarity to this crisis very soon.
Right. Thank you, Parikshit, for that update. Tata Motors Jaguar Land Rover will restart production in phases from the 8th of October. Production will initially resume at its electric propulsion centres in the UK. The auto major suspended operations from the 31st of August after a cyber attack. JLR is also fast-tracking a new financing scheme under which qualifying suppliers will get majority of their payment upfront. The 6th edition of Global FinTech Fest kicked off in Mumbai today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer will deliver the keynote address of the 3-day event, which will be attended by the titans of the global finance sector. Speaking at the event, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said India is witnessing an unprecedented transformation with half of the world's real-time transactions happening in the country. She also urged fintechs to focus on revenue growth and compliance capabilities.
India's journey in innovation and adoption with respect to new financial technologies is a story of unprecedented transformation. The scale of this transformation can be best understood through the numbers that define it. In a span of a single decade, we have connected a population equivalent to that of the entire European Union. Nearly half of the world's real-time digital transactions happen in India with adoption rates of 87% compared to the global average of 67%.
All right, on to a CNBC TV18 exclusive. PayPal's global CEO is bullish on India. Speaking with CNBC TV18 Shireen Bhan at the Global FinTech Fest, Alex Chris said India is a global leader and innovator in fintech. He added that PayPal will play the role of connecting India to the rest of the world.
The way I think about it is it's not just a domestic market. Everywhere I travel around the world, there are remittances where India plays a critical role. There's commerce where India plays a critical role. And we've actually, part of what we established ourselves with at PayPal is the ability to do cross-border payments and the ability to connect the world together. So I would rather have us spend our time and energy creating those connections across the world and let incredible products that consumers domestically know and love win the market here and enable us to connect them around the world.
What are the indicators that you're picking up on in terms of consumer preferences, where they're spending, how they're choosing to spend today?
Yeah, so again, there is an incredible amount of noise in the world right now, but consumers are resilient. And it's actually very inspiring to see how consumers manage through and block out the noise. I think the only big shift that I would highlight is something I touched on earlier, which is a shift away from debt and towards buy now, pay later. And again, buy now, pay later is a much shorter term, much lower value ability to spread payments across. And that is actually a sizable shift that we're seeing, particularly in a younger demographic. So it's really away from credit cards as their vehicle for credit and towards buy now, pay later.
Right, from one newsmaker to another, IndusInd Bank CEO Rajiv Anand says it will take 3 years to regain lost ground after the disclosure of accounting lapses at the bank. Speaking with CNBC-TV18's Ritu Singh on the sidelines of the Global FinTech Fest, Anand also added rebuilding trust is on top of his agenda. He ruled out any capital requirement this year.
You will see more people, come in between, let's say, now and 31st March. And so therefore, as the team begins to build, it's really a bunch of individuals who will come together to be able to transform this bank. And over a 3-year period, I do believe that IndusInd Bank will be able to regain its preeminent status. I think, I don't want to overpromise at this point in time that everything will turn, but it is going to be in stage one. It's really to be able to rebuild the bank, get back, business momentum. Year 2 is to gain market share, and year 3 will be about domination. So I'm not saying that one will have to wait for 3 years, but I think it's going to be a gradual process that perhaps, I do believe that we will be a substantially better bank certainly in 3 years' time.
LG India's 11,600 crore rupee IPO saw 74% subscription on day one as of 4 p.m. This was largely led by non-institutional buyers, which were subscribed over 100%. The portion reserved for retail investors was booked 69%, while the QIB portion was subscribed 15%. From one IPO to another, Tata Capital's IPO witnessed 63% subscription on the second day of bidding. The retail portion was booked 63%, while the QIB portion was subscribed 60%. The company plans to raise 15,500 crore rupees via fresh issue and an offer for sale. WeWork's India IPO was fully subscribed on the final day of bidding. This was largely led by the QIB portion, which was booked 177%. The company's retail portion was relatively muted. And it's time for a short break. Coming up next, the death toll among children in Madhya Pradesh after consuming potentially toxic cough syrup rises to 15. More on that when we return. Welcome back. The death toll among children in Madhya Pradesh after consuming potentially toxic cough syrup has risen to 15. State authorities have confirmed the presence of toxins in 2 other cough syrup brands and issued a ban. Chief Minister Mohan Yadav has promised to take strict action against those guilty. Furthermore, a PIL has also been filed at Supreme Court seeking a CBI probe into the matter. Network 18's Manoj Sharma is here with more details on the ongoing MP probe.
15 kids have died so far because of this cough syrup tragedy, and we have been told by government authorities that 3 drug inspectors have already been suspended and drug controller of the state is transferred. So this is the action on the part of the government. But the most important action which has been taken by the government is they have been collecting in fact samples from different parts of the state, and they have got two samples of two companies based in Gujarat, and their brand name is Relife and Recipe Fresh TR. These are the two syrups which have now been banned in Madhya Pradesh, and the Madhya Pradesh government has also written letters to the Gujarat government and also to the center for further investigation in the manufacturing of these two products in Gujarat. They are companies based in Gujarat because the content, diethylene glycol, the dangerous content, toxic content of diethylene glycol is found more than the prescribed limit. That is why the Gujarat government has been asked by the state Madhya Pradesh government to further investigate the product of these two companies. And we have been told by government authorities they are further collecting samples from all parts of the state so that no such tragedy takes place in the state in future.
करीब 40 दिन से ये सिलसिला चल रहा है, मतलब कभी दोबारा ऐसा हो ही ना, मतलब डॉक्टर मोहन यादव इस बात को इंश्योर कर रहे हैं कि कभी दोबारा ऐसी घटना मध्य प्रदेश में नहीं होगी, इसलिए एक ऐसी कमेटी जो कोई आगे जांच करे और चीज़ों को ऐसा इंश्योर करे कि अब ना हो कभी।
बिल्कुल यही सही बात है कि हमारे द्वारा केवल इस प्रकार की घटना नहीं, इतना बड़ा प्रशासन चलाते हैं, सरकार चलाते हैं, तो स्वाभाविक रूप से उन सारे अंगों के अंदर एक फंक्शनिंग होती है, काम करने के तरीके होते हैं, और काम करने के तरीके में जहाँ सजगता से काम करते हैं वहाँ पीठ थपथपाते हैं, आगे बढ़ाते हैं, लेकिन लापरवाही होती है तो उसको बर्दाश्त नहीं करते।
And speaking of contaminated cough syrup, sources have told CNBC-TV18 that Madhya Pradesh FDA has confirmed the presence of toxins in two other cough syrup brands that killed at least 15 children in the state. Timsy Jaipuria joins us now with the details. Timsy, what are your sources telling you?
Well, just to give a detailed chronology of testing of samples so far by the state and the central government given the deaths of children due to consumption of potentially contaminated cough syrup. Well, sources have shared that till now 19 samples have been tested by the CDSCO, that is the center, MP, that is the Madhya Pradesh Food Drug Authority, and Tamil Nadu FDA. The reports first started coming in on 3rd of October, where 6 samples were tested by the CDSCO and 3 by MP FDA, and the test reports then said that no DEG or EG, that is diethylene glycol or ethylene glycol, was found in these tests. Then later, that night itself, on the late night of 3rd of October, another test report came in by Tamil Nadu FDA of samples of Coldriff that was manufactured by Srisan Pharma, which stated that 48% DEG was found in these samples. And this was the first signal of yes, whether these cough syrups were contaminated or not. Post which, next round of test reports came in on the evening of 4th of October, which were the test reports of samples of Coldriff, again manufactured by Srisan Pharma, and these samples were picked up from the retail stores and pharmacies in Madhya Pradesh. These reports confirmed presence of DEG at 46%. Until then, that is till 5th of October, total 10 samples had been tested, which highlighted presence of DEG much beyond the permissible limit in the samples of Coldriff that were manufactured by Srisan Pharma, which is a Tamil Nadu-based pharmacy. Okay. After that, the next set of test reports came in on the evening of 5th and 6th of October, and these were the samples picked up by Madhya Pradesh FDA, which showed that the DEG content in Rupee syrup was 0.616% and DEG content in Recipe Fresh TR syrup was 1.342%, reflecting that DEG contents were marginally exceeding the permissible limits. Just to remind our viewers that the permissible limit of diethylene glycol in cough syrups is only 0.1%. And on the back of these reports, sources shared that the Drug Controller General of India, that is the central authority, that is the CDSCO, has now written to Tamil Nadu FDA seeking cancellation of license of Srisan Pharma with immediate effect. And what now to be seen is how and what is the action that the government actually takes on grounds when it comes to the other cough syrups also along with Srisan Pharma as to why these were getting manufactured at the ground, what happens to these manufacturing facilities, and yes, how soon their license are cancelled, how soon their existing stocks are sealed, something that we'll have to wait and watch for, because what is the serious action that the government is going to take for flouting the norms of manufacturing? We'll keep you posted on this.
All right. Thank you, Timsy, for that comprehensive update on the cough syrup deaths. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business 360. News and updates continue on the other side. Thank you for watching.